Okay, this is a super hut, and we didn't have any heifer calves for a while. Lots of bull calves, but we usually sell those. So now it was empty for a bit. So we decided we're gonna clean it all out really good. We pressure washed it off after we moved it. And over here where it used to sit, we took out some of the old gravel that was under it before and put that on the dugway going up the hill. And then we had a load of new gravel brought in and dressed it up a little bit. Right now we're trying to slide it back into place without messing up our beautiful pad that we fixed up here, and we're kind of using this plank deal here. I kind of thought about this before I went to sleep last night, how I'm going to do this without messing this up, because it usually wants to dig in. I only have one skid steer and that, but we're going to kind of push it with the bucket and that. Getting it out wasn't that big a deal, because if it was, you know, I'll have to get cleaned up and redone anyway. So that's our plan right now, so we'll let you guys watch us here. Right along here. See, over here we have an audience watching us, but they're not going to tell anybody if we don't get it right. These are old stake pockets, and my plan was to like put a log chain through there, and then there's one on the other corner. There's one on actually all four corners, and then maybe use the 3-point or the skid steer bucket. We got some hooks in there so we could raise it off if we had to drag it for any kind of distance. But up in here, we're just kind of scooting it into place here. We don't really have a lot of room here, but yeah. And then there's 6x6 treated beam in there, going all the way around. I mean, we have these gates so we can shut them inside. We actually have panels, so we leave them outside. Then we have kind of a deal here, but until everything gets leveled up, it doesn't really line up with the holes always just right. But and then I use these rings to hold them open. Let's see if I can get that one in there. There we go. And then I'll tuck like hay down in here. And then in the back here, we got a couple of planks back here. So in the winter when we put the tarp up, I got these nails for the eyelets for the tarp. We got this huge army tarp. We got these couple planks back here so we can put we can store some extra bales of shavings up in here. Or it helps support the tarp a little bit too. And then we use bungee cords on the other end to keep it all stretched and tight so the calves don't lick it and grab it and all that. And then we got these here. That's to hold the panel on so that maybe if the weather ain't so bad, the new calf can actually get outside in the sun a little bit. And then someone did ask about these here pail holders. And these are just silo rods that were metal fabricated, and so they fit the pails that we were using. And now we started using some plastic pails we bought at the farm stores, and then we ended up getting some stainless ones which are slightly smaller around, so they still stay in there, but you got to put them in just right. But anyway, that could probably be adjusted, but there's all sorts of things a guy can do. So really that's all just some simple welding and probably a lot of trial and error to get them just right. But if you got a lot of silo rods and some time, that isn't going to cost you much of anything. So anyway, we're going to get back at it here. Yeah, this looks like it's going to work good. So I can maybe I'll shove it a little more this way with the pallet fork. I put the pallet fork on too. Sometimes it works better to use the bucket in the back. But we're going to try not to damage things, because every time you move it, you slip a little bit and make a little ding in there somewhere. Now, like here on the corners, we got these huge flat chunks of steel and bolts through. And that's on all 4 corners, so that when I come up against it with that and start pushing and shoving, the things don't start pulling apart. Because it's going to twist a little bit, but being that we only move it about once every other 3rd year, it's probably going to hold up fine. And we could have put them on in the inside corners too for even extra strength if you wanted to spend the extra money. Then here we even put some different types of iron I found around the farm to bolt our 4x4 to our beam, because I thought that was the key. We start moving things around, things start twisting, and that's where everything's going to start coming apart. So but I think we're going to get her without doing any damage here. We're going to get it in there. We're almost there. So then the deal is to get everything kind of leveled up so our gate's all shut right again. Sometimes we have to put a block or two because it's very sloped here along the barn. Now on our barn we got rain gutters. This is our east side, so it gets the morning sun. So the water that comes off the barn roof doesn't fall down in here behind the hut. And then here we got a piece of an old rain gutter, and it pretty much slopes to the north, so it doesn't go under where the calves are laying. So the theory is to direct most all the water away. So there's very little water back here from the rain. Some of it, but that's not. So the last time we did this, we had this all just mixed up in pipe, and then when we shoved it in there, we kind of had to redo all our gravel again, which we're just trying to avoid extra work there. Say that went pretty good. A little bit of thought and patience. Looks like we only messed up just a little bit of gravel here. Nothing to lose sleep about. Everything looks like we might have to. I'll just get under here. I'm going to scoot this up a little bit more. I tried to make the gravel a little higher than some of the dirt there, so if there's any water, it doesn't go under, it kind of comes out around the side. Kind of wanted to make it so that it's kind of up on a little bit more higher on the pad. Calves can be tricky. You want to keep them dry, and anything you can do to prevent bedding them up more or having problems with them is always well worth the time. You get a sick calf, you can spend a lot of time babysitting a sick calf to keep it going and keep it hydrated and all that. So we kind of take this pretty seriously, these type of things. But yeah, so you're going to spend time on something, spend time preventing a problem. I don't know, I think it looks pretty good. We're going to check our gates now and see how they all shut. We kind of tried a few things. We put a plank on that end. We realized that that's not the way it was twisted wrong. So then we came on this end and lifted a little bit, put the plank under this end, and the issue comes down to is our gates latching. We got several holes to use here, but most of them line up pretty good. Some of them you got to kind of push a little bit up or down, but I guess that's never going to be quite perfect because wooden ground settles and everything kind of gives and moves through time, but frost will move them a little bit in the winter. But anyway, I think we got it pretty good. That's where it's going to sit for, well, until we decide we need to pressure wash it all out again. And I think if we're going to have good luck with the calves and stuff, it's always kind of nice to every other or every third year get a fresh start. We even kind of made a little repair here. We had one of these that ended up cracking on us. See, we got these little openers that we can, and then there's these little turners, so we can shut this in the winter months. And in the summer, of course, we need all the ventilation you can get. So the calf's got shade, got little breeze can go through there when it's warm. And then if we get some colder nights or something, you want to shut one or all three, we can. We got some bales of shavings up here I brought down from the bin up there. So they're ready to go. So when we get a new calf, we don't have to spend as much time because everything kind of happens at once, it seems, around here. We all know how that can be. But anyway, I was going to show you guys. So the pail holders, I'm going to kind of wedge them down through the panel here. I can hang them on the door there if there's maybe either they're locked in or there's nastier weather so they don't end up getting wet or snow in them. And then we got our pails here. I'll show you how those can go in there. Usually I like to feed two different kinds of grain, the starter and our cob corn mix. They actually seem to go for the cob corn mix even better than the starter we buy, but I guess give them all the options they can have. And then these are the pails we feed calves out of. Now we try to get them in, this is stainless steel, and I like them because you can scrub them up really good. You can keep things more sanitary, but anyway, you can either feed them and set it in there, or, I mean, I've got quite a few of those pail holders here, and if they're not all in use for other calves, I'll even have an extra one that I'll set out here, which is easier for us to reach. And then if the calf would spill some of her milk, it's on the lower end of the pen, not is up in there where they would make a mess where they may lay. But these are a little smaller. Some of these holders, you got to be a little careful how you set them in there. A calf will actually go in and drink, and then sometimes this ends up over the top of their head, and so you got to be a little more careful to make sure they actually drink their milk. And then I got some extra pails up there for the calf feed, and it's kind of ready for the summer here. It's very rare that we don't have any calves to feed. It's something with the breeding, and of course we've had Lots of bull calves over the last couple of months, so but we do have an awful lot of heifers anyway. A lot of young heifer calves from early winter, so nice to get a break from it.